Namaste, namaste, and welcome to Monday Midday Chair Yoga. Today we're going to do our usual wriggle through the body. We're going to use a little strap to get some more movement through the shoulders and some more lubrication for those shoulder joints. And we're going to focus on strength in the legs and the feet as well. Let us begin by sitting nice and upright in your chair, resting your hands wherever they're comfortable on your body, feeling a little bit of perhaps effort to put the feet into the floor and give yourself some traction to sit upright from there. If it feels comfortable to you, you can close your eyes or gaze gently downwards. And we're just taking a moment to step away from the other things going on around us, coming into this time and place for yoga, beginning to turn our awareness inward. Notice how you are feeling in this moment, the sensations in your body. Notice any areas of the body that need just a little extra care and attention during our practice today. Notice at least one part of the body that feels peaceful, tranquil, spacious, and at ease. Allow that sense of ease to ripple out from wherever it's centered, touching more parts of the body, softening tension, creating comfort where before there was none. Turn your awareness to your breath and gently deepen your breath. As you breathe in, allow the breath to lift you tall. As you breathe out, allow the shoulders to soften and gently engage through the navel to exhale completely. Breathing deeply into the sides of the body, the back and the chest. Breathing out a long, slow, releasing breath, engaging across the navel to exhale fully. Soften the belly to breathe into the rib cage, the collarbones, the shoulder blades. A long, slow, steady breath out, engaging across your navel to exhale fully. A few more breaths like this, finding more space for the breath to move into as you breathe in. Finding more release as you exhale. At the end of your next exhalation, allowing your breath to fall back into its natural rhythm. We're going to bring the palms together at the center of the chest, lifting the chest, and take the chin gently downwards, just wherever gravity guides us to go. Without forcing or pressing, you might like to roll your right ear towards your right shoulder and the chin back towards the chest and the left ear to the left shoulder and chin to chest. We're going to raise the head upright, release the hands down, make a few movements with the shoulders, little rolls of the shoulders backwards and forwards, if that helps. And then I'm going to free my feet from this block, which I'm just going to pop a little bit out of the way. So get a better purchase on the ground and just feel my way here to be able to sit really upright and then gently turn the head to look over one shoulder, returning to center and turning to the opposite side. So here we're not trying to force or strain as we move from side to side. We're simply trying to explore our range of movement. The next time your head turns to a shoulder, with your opposite hand, reach that hand back to hold onto your chair back or your chair seat and just see if you can feel a little bit more space across the shoulder of the arm that's moved backwards. You can even draw that shoulder blade towards the spine to create even more space if that feels good. Hold as you breathe in and out, and then relax your arm and bring your head back to center. Make any movements in the center that you need to release the effort. Sit tall and turn to the opposite side. Whichever way your head is turning, the opposite arm is going to reach back. Hold onto the chair seat or the chair back. Just see if you can feel that slightly more open position across the chest. Maybe even draw your shoulder blade towards your spine to open further across that sense of twist in the neck. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Relax your arm and then turn your head back to center. Make any movements that feel good with your body. We're going to take the nose and make figure of eights. So it doesn't matter where your figure of eight is in space, if it's sideways or up and down. Try to make your figure of eight as big as possible. So as if you were drawing it with your nose. Then you might like to do a gentle smile with the face as well, which helps to stretch and open the structures across the face, uses our muscles in a different way. Wherever you are, go in the opposite direction. So around your figure of eight in the opposite direction. Keeping the mouth gently closed will help to activate the structures at the front of the neck. And when you're ready, returning your head to center. And again, making any movements that feel good. It might be a little roll of the shoulders or a little wiggle. It could just be a gentle turn of the head or something like this. Aces. So we're going to come up to standing to do a little bit of limbering, and then we're going to come back to sitting. We're going to pop up and down a little bit throughout the course of the class. So don't worry about how you come up to standing. It doesn't matter in this instance. We're going to pop the chair to the side and just take a moment to do our Kati Chakrasana. So feet nice and wide, a little soft in the knees. We can gently turn from side to side, keeping the belly muscles lifted, the crown of the head lifted, the shoulders, arms, fingers and hands nice and soft and relaxed. Let the arms wrap around the body and tap the body wherever they fall. And at the moment, just let your hips do whatever feels good. So they might like to gently twist into the motion, or you might like to keep your hips a bit more still, whatever feels like the right thing for you at this moment in time. And then we're going to try to keep the hips more still and let this motion come from higher up the body. So we need to press into the feet and activate the legs and the buttocks and really use the belly muscles a little bit more so that we can keep the hips more steady. And as we turn, perhaps touch the opposite shoulder in front of us and the opposite hip behind. The head can follow the movement if it feels good doing that. Keep it more still if you prefer, if it's better for dizziness. Let's do a couple more of these to each side. And then we're going to free the feet. So you might need to slow your movement down A little freer in the low body as the hips turn and we pivot on the toes. And it doesn't matter if you're pivoting away or pivoting towards. So if you're crossing the knee towards the hands across the body, then that's fine too. You can do a little bit of both if you don't mind the change of coordination. And you can change back again whenever you're ready. And then when you're ready, you can add a soft bend in the knees for those who enjoy that, a bounce and twist, bounce and twist. Weight into the heels as you bounce, and perhaps a little bit more in the toes as you twist. Again, lifting in the belly muscles, finding the movement doesn't have to be forceful or vigorous. We're looking for something that allows us to feel a bit of letting go and releasing. When you're ready, you can bring yourself slowly back to center by losing the bounce, then losing the pivot, and feet to steadiness, and find yourself standing still. As you stand still, lift from the center of the foot to the crown of the head, engaging the belly muscles gently, maybe turning the palms of the hands forward as you draw the shoulder blades towards each other. Let the fingertips be heavy as well. Check that you haven't counterposed with your chin pointing forwards, that your head is over the rest of your spine. A little soft in the knees. And we'll take a moment here in Tadasana. For those who are comfortable, you can close your eyes here and just see if you can find a steadiness on the foot, both of the feet, of course. Or if you notice a little micro movements of your body weight moving forwards, backwards, side to side on the feet. If you prefer to practice with the eyes open, simply gazing gently downward and doing the same thing. See if you can notice the shifting of the body weight. The body is always doing these micro adjustments to keep us in an upright position, using our function of proprioception to understand where we are in relation to the things around us. And it works with the eyes closed and with the eyes open, but it is definitely more challenging with the eyes closed. When you're ready, you can bring the palms together at the center of the chest, lifting the chest. Take the chin gently downwards, giving yourself a soft smile. And when you're ready, raising your head, opening your eyes, and releasing the hands down to the sides. Just give the shoulders a little roll. And if you need to, you can give your legs a little shake out as well. So we're going to do some shoulder rolling, and I'd like you to have the chair available for anyone who needs or would like the extra support of just something to hang on to, because we're going to move the body relatively vigorously with our shoulder rolling. And so if you just would like something to hold on to as we do it, then absolutely take that. For those who feel they don't need it, you don't need to use it at all, of course. We're going to start with the right shoulder first, left shoulder first even, and just roll the shoulder in any way that feels good. You could do this sitting down for anyone who feels that that level of support would suit them best as well. If it feels good to roll your shoulder, we want to roll it forwards, up, back, and down. You can try rolling with your elbow, forwards, up, back, and down. If it feels good to roll with your elbow, you can roll with your arm more extended. It doesn't have to be straight. Forwards, up, back, and down. And at the same time, we want to begin to activate the belly muscles. And once you've activated the belly muscles, you might like to allow the rest of your body to move as your shoulder moves. So if we don't allow the rest of the body to move, it becomes quite tiring for the shoulder, which is taking all of the effort. It's muscles supporting all of that effort. But if we allow the chest to turn and the hips to turn, the side of the body to open, the front and back of the body to be activated, then we get this much more collaborative movement of the body. bending your knees as much as feels comfortable, allowing your head to turn as much as feels good. You might prefer to keep your head still, and that's fine. Just try to avoid being rigid in your neck. We'll do one more in this direction, or on this side rather, and then float the left arm down to your side. Just feel the difference between the two sides of the body. Hopefully one feels warmer, maybe more tired or used in some way, and there's a sensation associated with that. You might feel that your left arm is longer than your right, something like this. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. We're starting with those shoulder movements first. Forwards, up, back, and down. So that's the direction we want to roll in. You can do it in both directions. It's just we're only doing one today, and this one I find is the most useful. If it feels good to roll with your shoulder, you can make the circles with your elbow. If it doesn't feel good, you stick with your shoulder, and you can still do the rest of the practice. Moving the elbow forward, up, back, and down, beginning to activate the belly muscles. If the elbow feels good, you can practice with your whole arm, extended as much as feels comfortable for you in this moment. And again, with the belly muscles activated, allowing the rest of the body to join in with whatever kind of rotation you are doing. So a little softness across the knees, a little twist and turn and extension, rounding, whatever it might be with the rest of the body, holding on to something to give you a little bit of support if you feel that that is useful. It could be a wall or a chair or a sofa. Sitting down for the practice if you feel that that is the place for you. Allowing your head to follow the movement, or keeping the head more still, just allowing the neck not to be completely rigid. Feeling the collaboration throughout the body, the various other parts of the back of the body that join in to make this motion. And we're going to do just one more. And as your right arm comes to rest down by your side, observe the difference between the two sides of the body. See if you feel balanced or if you can feel more effort on one side or the other. And it's just observations for yourself so that you know how your body is responding and reacting. Give yourself a little wiggle. You might like to shake out the arms a little bit or wiggle through the hips a little bit. Fantastic stuff. Okay, so we're going to come to our chairs now to do a little bit of warming up through our feet and legs. So you can do this equally well with the wall if you prefer. And we've got our feet about hip width apart, somewhat narrower if you prefer. And just looking at your feet, making sure that they're straight. So the heel of the foot is behind the center two toes, the second and third toe, rather than lining up the inside or outside edge of your foot, which is sometimes an odd shape or slightly diagonal. And then we're going to lift all of the toes off the floor and sort of play with the toes, wriggling against the floor. Little wriggle. And if you can hold on, of course, to do this. You can lift all the toes up, big toes down, and then all the toes up, big toes up, other toes down. And just go from one to the other. Big toes down, all the toes up, other toes down, big toes up. So even if you feel that your feet aren't moving exactly precisely in that way, you have the intention to move that way. So you might feel that at the moment, the most accessible thing is to lift all the toes up and put all the toes down, all the toes up, all the toes down. And that is fine. That's a great variation. For a moment, let your feet relax and just give your hips a little wiggle, or step onto one foot and roll the opposite ankle. Use your chair for support, but stand as upright as you can, and then step to the other side, rolling the other ankle. Doesn't matter which way you're rolling. If you want to do both directions, you can. And then come back to center. we're going to practice coming onto our tiptoes. So we want to have a little think about shifting the weight forwards across the foot. So our weight sometimes is a little bit in the heels or in the center of the foot. We want to shift our weight slightly forward. So holding onto your chair, just think about swaying your weight forwards and backwards. And then the next time you sway forwards, come up onto your tiptoes just a little bit, free your heels, and then sway back, heels to the floor. Free your heels as you sway forwards, sway back, heels to the floor. Looking a little bit like a drunken sailor. I don't know why that should stay with me, but I've always had that song in my mind when I think of this. And then you can begin to lift the heels a little higher, slowing the movement down so that you've got time to really focus on the muscles working to lift the heels, lowering slowly and back. This time as you come up onto your toes, we're going to try to hold on the toes. Doesn't matter how high off the floor the heels are. I'd like you to look at your feet and just try to lift the heels a little bit, but keep the heels of the feet moving straight forward towards the toes. Try not to let the sides of the ankles sag out or the center of the ankle move out or inwards, in fact. And then slowly releasing down. I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me, got there in the end. Excuse me. Let's do that a couple more times. So we're thinking about shifting the weight forward over the feet to the toes, and then peeling the heels slowly up. And as we get to the top of our movement, we're just making sure that we haven't let the ankles sag out to the side. So we're going to focus on the big toe side of the ball of the foot. And then focusing on the big toe side of the ball of the foot, slowly releasing the heels to the floor. And as the heels release, let your weight come back a little bit into your heels and then forward again. Peeling the heels up as the weight comes forward, moving the emphasis to the inside front corner of the foot as you come up as high as you feel able to do in this moment. And then slowly, 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 slowly releasing down, trying to make sure that the feet are straight when they release down, rocking your weight into your heels. And we'll do just one more. I know I said we wouldn't, but we will. Moving the weight forwards, releasing the heels from the floor, having the emphasis on the inside front corner of the foot. As you lift as high as you're able to, try to lift also in the crown of your head, your belly muscles. Hold as you breathe. And for those who would like an extra challenge, you can bend your knees a little here. So bending your knees going straight over, the feet straight forward. Try not to bend forward from the hips at the same time, just coming to wherever is comfortable. And from your bent knees position, heels releasing slowly down to the floor. And when the heels come down, just bending the knees a little deeper and then standing all the way up. We're going to stand onto one leg and free the feet one at a time to do some ankle rolls in both directions, changing direction when you're ready. And then, of course, changing feet, ankle rolls, changing direction, stepping onto both feet. So here again, we're going to take one foot off the floor. Let's start with the left foot. We're going to point the toes back behind us. For those who are comfortable, you can put your left toes on the floor and just let the top of the foot and the top of the ankle get a little stretch. But if not, if it's not comfortable to do it with the toes on the floor, you can lift the toes from the floor and just find a little openness in the front of the body. You can even lift your chin and your chest if you like, and then step both feet together, not absolutely together, but to the same place. Little bend in the knees, and the same thing on the right. We're going to step the right foot back a little bit. So you can have your toes on the floor. You can even turn the top of the foot towards the floor if it feels good, if it feels okay, if it feels like a useful stretch. If not, floating the right toes away from the floor, and at the same time thinking about engaging the muscles in the back of the body to find this length in the front of the body as you look forwards and open the chest. Maybe even lifting the chin and then stepping onto both feet again, little bend in the knees. Let's take our chair-based downward dog. Hands onto the chair and walking your feet back, taking your feet a comfortable distance apart, maybe a touch wider, nice and soft in the knees. Think about lengthening through the torso from the tailbone to the fingertips, maybe swaying the hips from side to side. If it feels good, you can turn your head from side to side between your upper arms. Pressing into the hands and finding that lift in the belly, length through the whole of the spine. And when you're ready, looking towards your chair, walking yourself back to an upright position, taking a moment, if you need to, hold on to the chair while you're doing that, or you might prefer to step away from your chair and just give yourself a little wiggle. Awesome sauce. So we're going to move our awareness away from our feet and back to the upper body for a little bit of action with our belts. And this can be done sitting down as well as standing up. So for those of you who prefer to sit down for this one, not a problem at all. So we're going to start with some movements with the belt in the hands, and we want to create a little bit of tension on the belt. So we want the belt to be separated and pulled not super straight, but enough so that it doesn't sag in the middle while you're practicing. And if you want to build some more stability through the chest, upper back, shoulders, and arms, you can do this with one of those stretchy resistance bands, and that will encourage you to give a little bit more effort. So we're starting with the arms down by the sides. The belt is taut but not pulled really tight. And we can maybe relax the rest of our fingers, just using our thumbs to hold the belt towards the palm of the hand. And then we're going to lift the belt up in front of us, just take it to wherever feels good, and then lower down to the sides. At the same time, a little softness in the knees, weight towards the toes, perhaps just a touch, so it's not all in the heels. A lift in the belly muscles, and thinking about standing tall throughout the practice. Reaching the arms up to wherever up is, wherever the shoulders allow, and lowering down. This time we're going to reach the arms up, and we're going to try and find a little side bend. So in the up position, just bending over to the right, and then coming back to the center and bending over to the left. We'll do a couple to each side, so nice and firm in the belly as you bend over to the right, nice and firm in the belly as you bend over to the left. One more time to each side. Feeling the sides of the body lengthen and react. And then coming back to the center and slowly lowering the belt, keeping the belt nice and lengthened all of the time. At the bottom of this movement, we're just going to take a little rest. So we're going to pop the belt around our necks like a little accessory and give ourselves a bit of shoulder rolling. So it doesn't matter what sort of movements you do, if you've got any particular movements in mind, and if you feel that you need to release your hands, doing some nice finger movements as well. Something that feels good. If you've got a favorite piece of music, you can play it in the background and do a bit of grooving. And then we're going to do this same sort of motion again, but with a little bit of a twist. So here, this time, we're going to bring the belt that we've got pulled taut but not tight up to our shoulders or chest, and then twist to the right first, and then back to the center, and then twist to the left. Nice and firm in the belly, and back to the center. We'll do two more to each side. We're trying to allow the right arm to pull the left arm round whilst keeping the belt taut but not tight. And allowing the head and shoulders, and indeed hips if they need to to move as much as feels good in this moment. If you want to do a little bit more, try and keep your hips still and facing the front as you twist to one side and then the other, and relax the arms down, just taking that belt and wrapping it around the shoulders, giving your hands a little bit of a wiggle. Here you might like to interlace the fingers and roll the wrists from side to side, or figure of eights. Or you might like to bring the palms of the hands and the backs of the hands and the palms of the hands together. So you roll through the wrists in this way as well. It's a really nice thing to do for the hands in general. We can go the opposite way too. We're going to do a final practice with the belt, and this time we're going to try and take the belt up as high as possible and then bring it down behind the body. We want to create as much width on the belt as we need to do that. So, thinking about starting with your belt fairly narrow, we're going to reach the arms forward, firm in the belly, thinking about a little softness in the knees and trying to keep the weight from being all in the heels by moving it to the center of the foot. We're reaching the belt as far up as it will allow us to go, our shoulders will allow us to go, and then thinking about just creating maybe a little bit more width on the belt to be able to move a little bit further. We want to gradually work our way to having the belt wide enough to move the hands perhaps a little bit behind the body. For those that feel that this might be as far as they want to go, that's absolutely fine. You can just come back down in front of the body. But for those who want to go a little bit further, just easing slowly the belt down behind the body. At the bottom of the movement, making your hands a little wider still on the belt to reach up and back, trying to do a nice, slow, steady, smooth movement back up over the head and down in front of the body. Now we're doing these slowly, but for those of you who wish to move more quickly, as long as it's okay with your shoulders, you don't feel any extra resistance or discomfort as a result of your practice, that's fine. But I'm going to start with my hands narrow again, reaching the arms forward and up, and just noticing if I can get that a little bit higher this time before I have to widen my hands on the belt. So widening your hands on the belt as needed, working towards getting the arms up either side of the head. Here, some people like to lift their shoulders, some prefer them down. If you can do it with the shoulders down, that's great. Just moving your hands on the belt to the point where you can slowly, steadily, with great control, bring the arms down behind the body. And at the bottom of the movement, releasing anything that needs releasing, widening your hands on the belt, remembering you don't have to go behind the body if you don't wish to, reaching the arms slowly back and up, and bringing the arms and the belts down in front of the body. We'll do just one more of these. So releasing the shoulders as needed, a little firm in the belly. And this time, as you come up, you may notice that you get even further than you first did when you had the belt in your hand before you meet that sense of resistance. We're trying to keep the arms nice and long, just moving the arms wide enough to glide the arms down behind you. Really, we want to avoid clunking one shoulder and then the other. We want the shoulders to move in unison at the bottom of the movement, slightly wider on the belt, and then nice and slow and steady as you come back up and over and down in front of the body. I'm going to place our belts to one side for a moment while we free, she said. I would have done that if it hadn't fallen off. Free the arms and the legs for a little shakeout, moving in any way that feels good, and noticing that if there's been a little twinging, or if you feel at the end of the practice it was a bit too intense, remembering for next time so you can go a bit more gently with your body. Aces. So now we've opened the shoulders, we're going to put this movement together with the other movements that we've been doing. So we're going to come to the chair and we're going to stand quite close to the chair. So you've got enough support from your chair. We're going to start with, I might move myself slightly backwards. We're going to start with coming up onto the tiptoes. So just as we did before, the weight coming forward, firm in the belly, coming up onto your tiptoes to a point that feels good, as high as you feel able to hold. We'll be here for a few moments. And making sure that you've got emphasis on the inside front corner of the foot, not on the outside of the ankle. We reach the left arm forwards. We're going to reach it up and around the body as we twist in our torsos as well. And that arm comes down behind the body. Nice openness of the shoulders. We're going to do 2 more of these slow circles. If you need to, release your heels to the floor at any time. Okay, if you can, staying up on the tiptoes, you can make a fingertip touch with the right hand on the chair so that you're having to use more of your core muscles for support. When you've done 3 of these movements, we're going to bring both hands onto the seat, slowly lower the heels down, and just soften the knees, bending the knees a little bit deeply, trying to stretch out the Achilles, the back of the ankle. And of course, you can free your feet from the floor to do a little bit of ankle circling as well. Very good. Notice how that feels between the left and the right side, and we'll do the opposite side now. So we're going to float our weight forward on the feet, free the heels and come high up onto the tiptoes, firming the belly, lifting the chest, keeping the left hand on the seat, on the chair. We can reach the right arm up and around the body in a circle. And as we circle, the torso moves, maybe the head moves, opening the chest, but keeping the legs strong and steady. Remembering you can release down with your heels to the floor whenever you need to. And you can keep your fingertip touch on the chair if you want to encourage your core muscles to do a little bit more work. 3 of these big, slow, steady circles. And then finishing with both hands on the chair, floating the heels slowly down to the floor. That slow releasing is all part of the practice. And then bending the knees deeply, little soft bend and release. Very good. Just wriggling through the shoulders a little bit. And we're going to do a variation of our down dog with one leg lifted, only for those who wish to. So leave your hands on your seat, walk your feet back behind you. I might need to turn myself ever so slightly to give myself enough room. Want to bend the knees so that the hips can move back behind the feet. The knees are a little bent, and we get that sense of flattening the torso. You can bring the feet a little bit closer together than we normally practice for stability. Remember to press into your chair at the same time. We're going to slide the left foot backwards. Toes can stay on the floor if you like. But here, if you'd like to, you can lift your left leg up and then lower slowly down. We're going to do 2 more, nice and firm in the upper body, the belly, and the standing leg as you lift the left leg up and lower slowly down. Last one, lifting, lengthen the back of the neck, don't drop your head, and lower. Slide the left foot in, and we do the same thing on the right side. So establish your center, both feet on the ground, and then slide the right toes back. Toes can stay on the floor and just simply hold in this position. Or if you prefer, you can lift the right leg up and slowly lower down. Nice and firm in the belly. Keep pressing down into the standing leg and the hands as you lift and lower. And one more time, slowly lift and slowly lower. Step both feet towards each other, step the feet a little bit wider, and then again, sending your tailbone back. Feel like you're lengthening under the arms and across the base of the spine, particularly sway the hips a little from side to side. Very good. When you're ready, you can look towards your chair seat, walk your feet back in to standing upright. Take a moment, moving in any way that feels good. So I would really like to do one more practice that also uses some of these things, but in conjunction with each other. So, and then I promise we're going to be sitting down and doing some breath work to come to relaxation. So step quite close to your seat, not super close, but quite close. We want to bend the knees deeply this time. So we're going to start upright and bend the knees and think about the knees traveling over the feet. So the knees don't fall together or fall apart. They fall straight forwards. When you come to your knee bent position, check that your back is upright. To do that, we need to activate the belly muscles, maybe gently tuck the tailbone under, activate the muscles of the upper back to keep us lifted so we don't tuck forward or tuck out in this way. And then here, we're going to take our chair pose and then float the heels off the floor. So weight forward into the toes, lifting the heels to wherever feels good for you, moving your weight to the inside corner of the foot. And then we can slowly release the heels down, but keep the knees bent. We're going to keep the knees bent in chair pose and do the same thing 2 more times. So firm in the belly, the weight comes slightly forward into the toes. We're lifting the heels as high as feels comfortable, trying to think about the inside front corner of the foot so the ankles don't sag out to the sides, the knees don't fall inwards or outwards. Slowly releasing the heels down to the floor. Maybe the weight comes a little bit back into the heels. One more time, coming slowly forward, nice and firm in the belly, and then lifting the heels up, coming to wherever is the most lifted position for you. Take a deep breath in and out as you hold here. If you wish to, you can bend your knees a little bit more, but it's quite toughy. Just do what feels right. When you're ready, you can slowly release the heels down, move your weight into your heels a little bit, and then we're going to press through the center of the foot to lengthen the legs. Take a moment just to stand in steadiness. Hopefully your foot feels really connected with the floor and you feel really steady on both feet with all of the foot on the floor, as much of the foot as we normally get on the floor. And then when you're ready, you can give your legs a little bit of a shake. And we are going to make our way towards relaxation. So for sure, gather the bits and pieces that you need. And if you find your belt irritating, you might want to put it out of the way. Super. Oh, excuse me. So before we get wrapped up in our blankets, why don't we sit back in our seats? And I might sit ever so slightly this way. And then just free the feet from the floor so they're out in front of us to do a little bit of ankle circling. So anything that feels good to release the foot here, and we can go in the opposite direction as well. And you might like to wiggle your toes. You might like to just do a little bit of pointing and flexing. Maybe that's just what your body needs. Maybe it is a little bit of kicking from the knee in the low leg, or swaying of the feet from side to side, or making circles, whatever feels right for releasing for you. And the other thing that we're going to do is take the feet to the floor, take the feet quite wide. We want quite a lot of the bottom on the seat here. And we're going to sit tall and then lean forward and lean onto our hands or our forearms, whatever feels good across the knees. And here you might like to do a little twisting from side to side. Doesn't matter if it's done with the hands on the thighs rather than the knees, or on the forearms. Whenever you're ready, coming to center and just gently Sliding your hands down towards your ankles for a little seated forward bend. Relax the back of your neck. Maybe turn the backs of the hands towards the floor or hold elbow to elbow if the backs of the hands don't touch the floor readily. Allowing lots of space between the legs to let the body soften forwards. Take a couple of deep breaths. When you're ready, you can slide your hands back up to the tops of the thighs, or to the thighs, tops of the knees, and then press into the hands as you look forward. Lengthen your spine and use your belly muscles to hinge upright, from the hips. Very nice. So now we've done that bit of releasing, which has been very good. We can wrap ourselves up in the blanket so that we're all ready for relaxation when it comes. And today we're going to do Chandra Bedana, which is an alternate nostril breathing technique, which also translates as moon piercing breath. So later on this week, there will be the last supermoon of the year. So in honor of that, we're going to do Chandra Bedana. So you can do this sitting away from your chair back if you've got plenty of energy left in the body. If you feel that you need to release back into the seat, then for sure doing that. So for Chandra Bedana, we want to close one nostril and then the other. You can use the mudra that we have practiced before in class, where you curl all the fingers of the hand in towards the palm and then extend your thumb, your ring finger and your little finger, keeping the first finger and middle finger on the palm of the hand or in the palm of the hand. And then we use that palm facing the nose to close the right nostril with the thumb and the left nostril with the ring finger. And we do that by pressing on the fleshy part outside the nose rather than sticking the fingers into the nostrils. So it's just pressing the fleshy part of one side of the nose towards the center of the nose and then alternating. So in this breath, we breathe in through the left side of the nose and out through the right side of the nose and in through the left and out through the right. So this is not classic alternate nostril breathing where we go from side to side. It's always in on the left and always out on the right. Okay, let us practice together. So begin by sitting tall, softening the shoulders, maybe closing the eyes or gazing gently downward. We're going to bring our hands to the face so that we're ready in position and allow the elbow to soften against the chest and the shoulder to relax. Take a deep breath in through both nostrils and a deep breath out through both nostrils. Then close your right nostril and breathe in on your left. Close your left nostril, breathe out on your right. Close your right, breathe in on your left. Close the left, breathe out on the right. Close right, breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Close right, breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Keep going, but feel free to find your own rhythm, slowing this down if it feels comfortable to do so. Always breathing out on the right. And breathing in on the left. As you practice, soften the features of your face. Practicing one more round in through the left. And after your next exhalation to the right, allowing your arm to rest down, keeping the eyes gently closed or gazing downwards, and taking a few full breaths through both nostrils. Notice the effect of your practice. Whenever you're ready, you can settle yourself back against your chair back if you haven't already done so. Rest the hands wherever they are comfortable in your lap. Closing the eyes now if you haven't already done so. And bringing your body to stillness. Take a deep breath in and sigh gently out through the mouth. And repeat one more time, allowing your body to surrender back and down as you exhale. Allow your breath to find its natural rhythm and to fall into quietness. Take your awareness into your forehead, feel it soften. Feel the space between the eyebrows expanding. The area around your eyes releasing. Your mouth, tongue, and jaw relaxing. Allow the whole of the body to feel heavy, warm, supported, releasing back into the chair and down into the floor. Allow your awareness to rest on your breath. Observing the slightly deeper, more gentle resting breath. Allowing your body to relax a little deeper with every exhalation. Gently deepen your breath. Bringing your awareness back into your hands and your feet, maybe wiggling your fingers, your toes, or rolling the wrists and the ankles. When you're ready, taking a deep breath in and stretching the body in any way that feels good, maybe stretching the face in a yawn, maybe lengthening one side and then the other. When you're ready, gathering yourself back to center, resting your hands together at the center of your chest. Taking a moment to bow your chin towards your chest. We've been working these last few weeks on lots of things that make the body more strong and more stable. So hopefully allowing you to feel more steady on your feet and firmer in your foundation, not just physically, but also in life. Giving yourself a small smile and raising your head when you're ready. Open your eyes. Hope you've enjoyed this practice, and I look forward to seeing you for the next one as well. Namaste.